Hello, virtual boys and girls. There's massive technical difficulties on this end. I was trying to mess with a bunch of settings, so we should be good. Please let us know in chat if you can't see me or whatever. It doesn't matter about me. Can you hear us? That's all that counts. Can you hear us? Chris, can you hear me?
I can hear you. I'm watching the video. It's got a bit of lag, but then all of a sudden you ghosted in the top right
I
corner,
know.
and then the virtual boys and everything.
You
But
have
yeah,
no idea what's like, it's chaos over here, guys. So thank you so much for tuning in. I know I'm super dim. Just deal with it this episode. Next episode, we'll have it all fixed. Chris, how's it going?
good. Now, just one quick thing. I noticed there's some video playing in the bottom, and I see you there. What is
Yep,
that?
that's me setting it up.
Okay. Oh,
Just quiet.
you've got oh you got your stream going from what you did the other day. Okay.
This is actually I just recorded this before the stream.
Oh, look at you. Okay. They says we can barely hear. Barely
Ba-
hear who?
Mike. Hmm.
So
That should.
let us know what you mean by can barely hear. Um, and in the meantime, I'll just let you know one of the problems we were having. Okay, so it's Ryan's. Ryan, are you on the right microphone?
Should be, but
This is always a
stick
thing we
with.
have to check with him.
Sorry,
Um,
guys. There was so much problems here today
what
that I.
the problems
Go.
we're having that Ryan's having while Ryan's fixing his shit is that we we're getting ready. Well, Ryan's actually already ready. We've
All
got a
right, I'm fixed.
new capture card to so that our review footage and any footage we put out is actually going to be in well, you say 4K, but basically full resolution of the headset, so 2K and HDR. And so that caused issues with Ryan's OBS because he had to change a bunch of settings, and it's Ryan. So this is what you get.
Yeah, after this episode, I'm literally going to uninstall OBS and restart from scratch because I think I've actually messed this up to a point of no return. So,
Well, anyways, let's get going. Holy shit, the day is here. I mean, before we get into our impressions, I just want to thank all of you for joining us. Please hit the like button and leave us comments. We love reading. I love reading the chat. Not only here, but I guess comments would be more for those of you listening to this afterwards. I appreciate the fact that people actually will listen through and comment because it's just different points of view, and I find them usually a lot more constructive than your average comment that you get on Facebook and Reddit and such. So I really appreciate all of you guys for tuning in and saying what's up. Yeah, so Ryan and I both got our headsets. We're going to be getting into our impressions of the headset. We've played a whack of games. At least we've all kind of sampled most of the games that are available, and we're going to talk about that. So that's very exciting. We're both pumped about this. We're also going to be giving away codes throughout, guys. PSVR 2 codes. So make sure you stick around until the end, because I mean, I guess it depends on what games you're looking for and what games you already got. But we're giving away a Call of the Mountain code later on. We've got a Star Wars code. We've got codes for quite a few of the games out there. So stick around, and we'll be dropping those in chat. So get your browsers open, get your thumbs ready, because it's going to be a first come first served thing. Before we get into it too much, though, I think with our point of view, I just wanted to kind of address that. I know that there are some big controller issues that people seem to be having. Ryan, you're more of a Reddit guy than I have, but I know Kevgert was talking about that. I had heard some things, and Mindhive, they're going to be almost all US codes. Let me answer that while I see it. We've got a couple of EUs, but yeah, the developers give us almost all NA because that's what we are. So you got to move. I don't know what else to say. You got to move. But Ryan, controller
but
issues.
Chris, as a matter of fact, I did have controller issues, Chris. Setting up wasn't too bad. Actually, setting up was fine. I had no issues at all. Setting up is super easy. It takes like, I don't know, 6 minutes or less. It wasn't very long. The video I'm actually playing now is 6 minutes long. So, or no, it's 10 minutes. What does it matter? It took about 6-7 minutes to set up. That's going through all the steps and actually just like stopping to actually really just enjoy all the eye tracking, and like it's made it like a little game. Fine, no problem. What ended up happening actually is I had no haptics throughout my entire first opening stream. And yeah, I had nothing. I had no haptics. I know there was lots of reports
from had no haptics. Yeah, did that get sorted for you though?
Yeah, I restarted the PS4 or PS5 rather, sorry, and worked no problem. So it just needed a restart. Seems to be a lot of that jank happening. Just going on Reddit, lots of people saying the left controller doesn't work, right controller doesn't work, haptics in one, haptics not. So there's definitely seems like there's
software though.
Oh, I was gonna say like firmware even.
That's good. That's
a
good thing.
It's a fix. It's an easy fix. Absolutely.
Yeah.
But yeah, so I mean, to answer your question, I did actually have technical problems, Chris.
Well, I did not, thankfully. So I just wanted to address that because I think Ryan and I are going to get in here and just rave quite a bit about how happy we are. Ryan and I have it's very hard for us as being friends first. We've tried really hard not to share our experiences. So Ryan and I
we haven't talked. We have barely talked
since
the
PS4. We're going to be talking about this right off the bat. I will say that as far as someone who pre-ordered, I was pissed in Canada here because I had pre-orders originally through GameStop, Best Buy, and Amazon, and I canceled all of them but Amazon because I was like, well, they've got the delivery network. They're going to be the ones that will deliver. And Ryan and I live like 25 minutes away from each other. We're like half an hour from an Amazon warehouse, and Ryan got his on launch day, and mine didn't even ship. He was like saying the 28th to March 3rd. I was like, this is bullshit. So I canceled that, had a little hissy fit, and then luckily my wife was awesome and swung by Ryan's house, benefits of living close to each other, and picked up one of the 3 headsets that Ryan had delivered because he has problems.
Whoa. I only had 2 delivered. One I went to the store to get. So yeah, counter to Chris's story, I pre-ordered through Best Buy and through Amazon. And my Best Buy or my Amazon package actually arrived yesterday early afternoon, but according to Amazon it said 8 p.m. so like around 11 o'clock I basically hit panic mode and was like, you know what, I'm going to Best Buy. So I drove to Best Buy, bought one in store with the plan to just don't worry about my IV cam, with the plan to just come back and return that one later. And but that one, my Amazon one arrived within an hour. So then my Best Buy one arrived today, so a day later than launch day, which I'm not happy about either, regardless. So I ended up buying 3 headsets, returning one and one sold to Chris. So go me.
Yeah. So, well, I was thankful. So I got mine last night and I didn't think that was going to happen for today. So I ended up just blitzing games. And, both got headsets. So we can talk about this today. So here's the plan. We're going to talk about our headset impressions, setting up, playing, what we thought about that, just how we're feeling about this. We're going to get in some of the games. We're going to talk a lot of games experiences with you guys. Feel free to fire off in the comments. Let us know how you guys have felt about your day one. I'm going to address some of the haters that have been talking about image quality, and we also want to talk state of play. So we'll save that for a little bit later. But I guess Ryan's dropping in codes.
Ta-da!
I guess I don't want to get into this. I'm going to try to stay controlled here. Ryan, initial thoughts about just that day one, turning it on. What are your feelings around that?
Good. It was still a nice breath of fresh air, honestly. I've been saying for a while now that the Quest has just been irritating me just because all I see is its shortcomings, and I'll say it again, it's amazing for what it does, but for what it doesn't, it's getting more and more aggravating. So it was nice to go back in. The setup was easy. We just said that. And then getting into the games, I had everything pre-installed as much as I could anyways, and it was great. It was nice just that everything worked. Right off the hop, I played Kayak VR Mirage first, I think. I don't even remember what I played first. That's funny.
My host is a little bit on the slow side, so you'll have to just forgive him. Kayak.
Well, I was trying to think what I played, because the first time I played anything was on the live stream. So, and I played like 7 games in that time, and I was trying to play. You
want me to tell you what your first game was? Star Wars.
Yeah, sure. Oh, it's Star Wars. That makes sense. Yeah, so I played Star Wars, and that was nice. That was awesome. It's just everything I played, doesn't matter what I played, everything just worked the way it should. I had no technical issues anywhere as far as anything goes. Tracking worked flawlessly, and it was just nice to just get back into more premium gaming. Now, obviously, we're still playing some Quest ports, up-res and everything else, but between Kayak VR Mirage, Star Wars with a nice little upgrade, Gran Turismo 7, like it just felt like a return to form. Like it was like I was missing just how good VR could be, and I was kind of settling. I guess I was settling for the Quest because it's the only thing available, and nothing's come out for the PC on the PC side of things. So it just felt good. I'm not fanboying out here. Like it's not perfect. I have issues.
I'm gonna fanboy out. I had issues too, but I am gonna fanboy. So
I'm gonna sing its praises, but I'm not singing its praises because like I've been waiting for Sony's headset and screw everybody else. It's not the case at all. But just diving back in, even Kayak VR is the best example I have. I've been trying to get side-by-side footage, and for some reason with my system now, I'm having real troubles with setup, where I'm getting lots and lots of jank and like screen cutting. PSVR 2, none. It works flawlessly, records great, and it's kind of just I just miss the simplicity of getting back into this and just playing a game without having to worry about anything else.
I have no idea. Yeah.
It's how it's been. I've been game hopping. Like I don't game hop like this. It's actually really, it feels weird for me to just go from like half an hour to a game, just to kind of get impressions specifically for this episode. So it's weird just to get like a taste test. But so once this is done, I'm looking forward to kind of just taking a breath. I mean, I played Horizon. I've over halfway done Horizon. I've committed a fair bit of time to that, which we'll talk about in a bit. But first impressions are it feels nice for things to be easy and good again.
I will say that here's an interesting thing. So, you know what? Full transparency, I don't care. You guys are family. I've dealt with depression. I've been dealing with some depression, and my hype level going into this has been really up and down just because I haven't been like loving life recently. And I got the box and I put it on the table and I was like, I got it. Sweet. And I said to my wife, I'm like, I don't know if I'm going to play it today. Like, I just not feeling like I want to play this. I just wanted it. I just wanted to acquire it and have that off my plate. And I was like, you know what, fine, I'm going to open the box. I was like, it's kind of cool. It's kind of sweet. I was like holding it in hands. That's really nice. And then I was like, you know what? Okay, I'm gonna plug it into the PlayStation and just do the setup. And I will tell you guys that like I unexpectedly got all those first day feels that I got on the launch of the PSVR 1. For those of you who are watching this who don't know, Ryan and I both basically grew up on the PSVR and then moved on to PC and Quest as time went on. But the PSVR was like for the longest time. This is where we kind of started our whole thing. I guess technically you could have started on the Gear, or what was it? The Gear or the? Technically,
yeah. I was a Gear boy.
But I mean, technically I was a Google Cardboard. But anyways, I digress. And so this is very special. I think I can speak for Ryan for both of us. But just back to my experience though, I did the setup and I was kind of like, oh, this is really cool because I'll say the setup is slick as shit. Instead of drawing the border like the Quest, it was like look around your room. And it just started scanning my room. It even caught like light fixtures on the roof.
Dude, mine didn't even finish scanning my whole room. It's like we scanned enough. I'm like, what do you mean? I haven't scanned everything. Like I want to scan more.
Well, mine was pretty quick about it too. But like it was like there's your couch, there's your coffee table, there's your light fixture, and it was just like all around the room. I was like, holy crap. And you can go and you can fine tune that with the controller and a trigger. You can redraw lines. You're like, no, give me more space. Or no, you missed like the big chair in the middle of the room or something like that. You can fix that. So you have all that ability. But man, oh man, I tell you, I was like, this is pretty cool. Then I did the eye tracking, and I'll say like the IPD being automatic was so sick. Having an actual like physical IPD adjustment is nice on the headset. That's the same as actually the other one didn't have an IPD adjustment, did it? It just did it in game. Yeah. So having the physical IPD is much nicer because you can really dial that in, which is so important, and we'll get into that. But having it up on the screen showing my eyes with the IPD adjustment, I was like, okay, I'm nailing the IPD. I can see that.
Yeah. Totally.
was like, actually know otherwise I'm always guessing. I don't know what fucking IPD is. Like, I guess I can't see the lenses in the middle of my eyes, so I guess that's good. But I have no idea what my actual IPD was supposed to be, headset to headset, and this was beautiful. I could see it, and like I was like, num 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 num, like my ADHD, I'm like, I can see it's perfect. And then doing the eye tracking, like bloop, 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 and just like when you start feeling the eye tracking, it's magical, and you start getting that gaze buttons and stuff. So sick. And then so my first experience after doing the setup, I was like, sweet, that was painless. Was my controllers were charging, I jumped into GT7, and I had my first VR boner again. It's been a long time. It's been a long time since I had a VR boner. Just a little one, but it was there. And I was sitting there because I've opened up a lot of GT7. I jumped into my Viper and I was just like, oh. And my wife's like, "Are you okay?" I'm like, "Oh my god, oh my god." I'm like, "This just looks so good." Like, I have a high-end PC. I play a lot of racers and beautiful ones like Project Cars 2 that are just beautiful games in VR that have been the standard. And I'll tell you, like, I mean, I could nitpick GT7, but it just worked. I was, boom, I'm in the car. And I wasn't, like, fighting to get it to recenter me, which I've done sometimes on the PC. And it was just, the frame rate was there, and it was so optimized, because anyone who plays sim racing games on PCs knows it's constantly a battle. You can't just max it out, because all these games are flat games that have VR modes. So the VR settings are also the flat settings. So you're always tweaking. And I'm cutting out grass, and I'm limiting lighting, trying to get my frame rate up. And it just worked. All the reflections were there. And I was saying to some guys later on in the day, and I promise I'll let you talk here, Ryan, that because I jumped into a chat of VR guys all in the headsets, and we were all just sharing experiences. And I said, I feel like I jumped into the GT7 in VR, not a VR version of GT7.
Right.
I mean, I'm sure there are concessions made, and sometimes I could see, like, if I was really looking at a standstill, I could kind of, like, if I looked a little bit and turned my head, sometimes I could see the trees doing some type of a graphic thing. But, like, at any speed, that's completely can't see it. And some people talk about it's blurry off in the distance. I mean, it's making some concessions, but again, we'll get into these. But these are 2K screens right in front of your face, and for me, compared to most of the PC racers I've played, the balance that they found between resolution and full visual effects and a high frame rate was just dead on. I could just race. I could just play. It was amazing. Wasn't worried about frames. I wasn't, and the grass was there, and all the effects were there, all the lighting effects, all the smoke effects, all the nighttime effects, and I was just like, I'll save this for a little bit later, but I want to say the same effect when I got into Resident Evil 8. It was that idea of it's not just compromises everywhere. I felt like I was playing, like, blowing me away, to be honest, that I was playing that version, the Resident Evil 8 Village, the main game, in VR, not a VR port of it, not a game that had been dialed down to work. And in fact, it was a much better experience across the board. I mean, visually it was a few concessions, but then, like, the full two-handed, but we'll get into that later. I don't want to jump into that yet, but that was kind of my initial, like, I guess 45 minutes with the game, and I felt like the first day I had the PSVR 1, and I was just sitting there going, oh my god. And I didn't expect that. I was actually just kind of like, I don't know. I mean, I was excited for this and for all of you, but for the most part, I was kind of like, there was a little bit of kind of like, well, I don't know if there's anything there that's going to, like, wow me. And I was wrong, and I've got more to talk about. But Ryan, I mean, I guess, give me more.
Yeah, no, I mean, you're not wrong at all. I mean, talking about GT7, actually, we'll come back to GT7. So, I mean, I've been heavily investing my time a lot in Horizon, just because I'm trying to get that review out of the way. And everything you guys have heard so far up to this point is not wrong. The game is, for all, it's a climbing sim. Like, it's basically the Climb Horizon edition. And there's some combat involved, obviously, but it is no joke. I mean, 80% climbing, it is a ton of climbing. And not to take away from the game, because I mean, every time I stop, I've stopped in that game 50 times, 60 times, just to stop and just look at my surroundings. It's stunning. It is absolutely gorgeous. The trailers do it justice. All that live footage you're seeing, it looks just as good in the headset, and it's stunning.
Okay.
Like,
I do feel like there's I don't want to cut you off, but I do want to put a pin in what you were just saying there. I am. But I feel like there is an expectation that is, and I want to get into that a little bit more, but when you say the trailers don't lie, it's as good as it looks. I feel like
visually,
but I know what you're saying, but I feel like as VR enthusiasts, we see that trailer and we go, "Holy crap, is it going to look at least close to that?" Because we have this VR brain that kind of like knows what that's going to look like in the headset, with like a slight downgrade to certain, softer visuals off in the distance and stuff. And I think there's a problem with some people expecting it to be like that 4K trailer, perfectly crisp in VR. And it's like, I feel like that's coming from people who just, I don't know, either they haven't experienced VR or they're just not really aware of where even PC VR is at still currently.
All right, no, let me rephrase it then. It's not 4K as if it were like a 4K, like watching a 4K trailer on YouTube, but it's so damn close, and it still looks great. Every single blade of grass has been rendered. Like, there is, I find, a haziness in that game, like a little bit.
In which game? Sorry,
Horizon.
Okay.
Like, it's like an overall haze on everything, and
do you feel that's like a heat haze, or is it actually a graphical thing?
I don't think it's a graphical thing. I think it's a weird design. I mean, I can still see the screen door effect on the headset. I know it's, people say it's not there. I can see it, especially in brighter games, obviously, and I do see it here if I'm looking for it. So it's kind of like it's not 4K. It's like being told it's 4K and then you're only getting like 2K. It still looks stunning. I mean, but you have to understand, I guess, just the resolution of the headsets and the technology, but it looks absolutely beautiful. So no, it doesn't look like an 8K television in front of your face, but it looks damn good and miles ahead of what PSVR 1 was offering.
So, I mean, we're just kind of there now, so I feel like I just want to jump into it a little bit. Anybody who's been on the Facebook pages, and I'm sure Reddit, there's a lot of haters out there, and I think that I think that's a combination of Quest people who are having a hard time with the fact that there's some incredibly high-end VR that they can't play. I think there's also some PC users, and I kind of get the fact that if I'd spent $4,000 on a PC or $3,000, and I had like a $1,200 or $1,500 PC headset, and there were all these and high-end games coming out on a headset, like there's I was saying that to some of the people that were hating in Ryan's chat there, I was like, for those who are hating on the launch lineup, there's more games to be excited about in Sony's launch lineup than there has been in the last 2 years in PC. And that's not a shot at PC, because I love PC VR as well. It's just, it's the state of PC VR. And so I think that's where some of the hate is coming from. But I wanted to address the visuals at least. One of the issues that I have with the headset, it's not really an issue, it's more just something to be aware of, is that because of the eye tracking, and the fact that the headset is so reliant, at least on the high-end games especially, for eye tracking to use the dynamic foveated rendering that makes everything HD where you're looking, or it's also called gaze tracking, gaze tracked foveated rendering, is that if you don't have it set up properly, and I mean set up properly, the IPD perfect, the eye tracking like perfect, and then you don't have it. It has a very small sweet spot, and I've also heard that's due to the lenses that they went with, that they're older lenses, and you have a headset that you really need to not only get the sweet spot here, but also you've got to get it kind of sometimes out, like binocular wise, almost perfect. And again, I cannot stress enough being stringent with yourself that you're looking straight ahead when you're doing the IPD and that your eye tracking is not kind of like okay. Because I can tell you, I put my wife into the headset, who I think is pretty similar size face to me. And I was like, and she was like, it looks a little blurry. I was like, okay, let's do the eye tracking again and IPD adjustment. We did both of them, and yeah, that IPD wasn't perfect, and the eye tracking was a little wonk. It was a little off. It wasn't. She'd look, and it just wasn't quite as fluid as mine was, and that will screw you if you don't have those settings done right. There's even been talks about it going off if you pull the headset off and put it back on. I didn't have that problem, but
I never had any problems like that.
but I think a lot of the problems that people are having in chat are either expectation based and or more realistically, just rushing the setup. And so I did not have any problems, but I will admit to fiddling quite a bit with GT7 and that was the first one, I guess. It's really where I kind of dialed it in. But again, I did notice, and this isn't really, again, I said a negative, it's just a thing I think you have to know, is that if you're going to start passing the headset around to friends and family, you kind of have to do the IPD and eye tracking every single time. And they really have to find that sweet spot. It is a smaller sweet spot than probably any headset I've ever used. I think it's worth it. I think that eye tracking is going to make it so that other headsets are just going to have to be more strict like that to a certain degree. Again, I've heard it's also a lens thing, but it's just a thing. But I guess my experience has been with the high end games that are using the eye tracking. Once dialed in, beautiful. I couldn't trick it. I mean, watching Ryan's stream, I could see sometimes in Horizon, I could see the lower detail on the side in the social screen, but in the headset, no way.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I mean, I definitely could see where that could be an issue for people as far as like going from headset to headset. But as far as people complaining about, like issues like themselves, I think it's usually, like I said, rushing the setup. Not to say, I mean, I ran into problems. Not to say that, there could be problems out there, I guess, but between me and you, as far as the headset goes, like once I take it off, put it back on, no issues. And I was constantly up, down, up, down, up, down, checking things, doing other things. So it's, yeah, you're not wrong. The sweet spot's definitely, once I found it, it was fine. I never had trouble, like as far as getting the headset back on, it was no issues at all, like whatsoever. It was great. So I don't know. I mean, I can't really complain too much about that. I really didn't have any issues in that regard.
Yep. Well, I think Shades of Grey made a good point there. When I talk sweet spot, he talks about how I'm not talking about the screen necessarily, as he talks about like the eye box. It's that play, like once you're in the sweet spot, then the whole screen benefits from that. It's, and I mean, I feel like anybody who's played VR games knows. And somebody in the comments there said like it's noobs, not knowing how to put on a headset. Again, I think some of that's there because this is like, it's a high-end headset. And, it's funny. I was saying in the chat again that for a headset that is made for, knowing it's going to the masses, it's console gamers, so it's got to be plug and play. It's got to be easy. They've taken great strides in the PSVR 2 versus the PSVR 1. That setup though was just like you scanned your room, done. Savage Gamer was asking about the pass through. It's black and white, but it's visibly much higher resolution than it's high res.
Oh yeah, compared to the Quest. Oh yeah, it's much
really,
higher.
Very nice, and it is black and white. That was probably just a cost thing, right? Because and also Sony, I think, has made it very clear that this headset is a gamer's headset. This is for people who want to game. So social is secondary to that. Things like big screen and web browsers and porn. What the hell? That was something that Savage Gamer was like, "Where's my porn?" But those things are just not priorities for Sony. I wish they would add them as well as. But this is a gamer's headset, And I think that that's very obvious that those choices were made. They're not into augmented reality, so they don't need color pass through.
They don't have. That's the thing is they don't have to be, or augmented reality.
And I
Yeah,
don't
sure.
agree. I don't know. I don't think they have to. I think being Sony has always been like we're for gamers.
Oh no, augmented reality to me is still very much unproven. There's apps that have used it. I mean, when the Quest 2 dropped, there was a few apps that kind of dropped. Where like I Expect You to Die released like an augmented reality app and stuff. And I'm not saying there isn't potential there, but we have not seen that potential yet. And I think investing in like a full color pass through is so unnecessary at this point. Just because nothing is using it. So, and you know, I not say like to future proof the headset, but I just don't think the market's there for augmented gaming.
Well, we also talk, you and I have been very clear that we both kind of feel like, I think we're going to get more and more into the fact that there's kind of your hardcore VR gaming market, and then there's your mobile standalone market. And I think your mobile standalone market is going to be way more social, way more business focused, way more like VR and AR apps, like things that are just less like horsepower driven and more mobility driven. And so that makes way more sense for me for that to go AR. Like I wouldn't be shocked if the Quest 3 had the color pass through of the Pro. That just seems to be maybe something that they would be more into. Sony doesn't need it, but really my point is that the setup was so easy, and is that it's a little unfortunate that the trying to just get that headset where it needs to be and making sure that your eye tracking's on. It's not quite as silky smooth, given the setup is like so much more just like it's very user friendly. I almost think that I would almost like it if Sony updated the software where the headset automatically was like, you're not set up properly. Would you like to readjust? And then it just like, instead of me having to go, okay, honey, bring up the menus. Okay, now go over to here. It was still pretty easy, but for someone in the headset and you're trying to bring them through it. Luckily, I could also use the DualShock, and I was able to kind of bring up the menus for her. But anyways, that was my one thing about the setup. What did you think, Ryan, about overall comfort and quality?
Perfectly fine, man. The headset, it feels lighter than the original one. I'm pretty sure it is. But it does feel lighter. I guess I could check that right now. But so it floats in your head like nothing. It doesn't feel like you're wearing anything heavy, especially compared to the Quest, where it's obviously very, very, very front heavy because of all the guts inside that thing.
Now, I have the Bobo strap, which is the Halo strap from my Quest. And I cannot stress enough, guys, if you got a Quest 2 and you don't have that Bobo strap or something similar, I mean, it's like putting on like a comfy set of pajamas at the end of the day versus like putting on a suit with the old Quest strap. And I even had a nice Vive strap, and the Halo strap was amazing. But I don't know, Ryan, I still find that like it's just a lot of headset here. I mean, a lot of it is obviously this the interface here, which is great at light blocking.
That's amazing, man. It blocks everything out of my face. That interface is fantastic.
It is a lot of headset, and the adjustment again of the if you guys like this is very similar. It's very, very PS1-y.
Oh yeah.
I even saw some post of a husband saying like, I sneakily had the headset delivered while my wife was at work, and I just changed the headsets out. He's like, she never noticed, except that her husband seemed renewed interest in his VR. It's not as comfortable. I've heard people say that. It's comfortable. It is comfortable. But it does have haptics here. And I do feel, even in the back, it's not pure padding. There ends up, if you push down, you can actually feel a bit of a ripple in the back. It is comfortable. It's not as comfortable as the super padded Bobo, I'll say, but the trade-off with the haptics on the front here, considering that anybody I know who's tried head haptics, the B-haptics, head haptics, said it's really uncomfortable. Like it's a pain, it's headache inducing. This is wonderful. It feels great. I like that they've gone with the pure like rubber interface. It's easier to clean up, and it's not gonna shred apart like the PlayStation's. This is almost more a vinyl thing here. And so I like that improvement. That's really nice. I would say my favorite thing about this, I didn't think I would use earbuds, but I love these earbuds, guys.
They're awesome.
They clip on. You can't see it here, but this clicks on, which goes right into the earphone jack, and then your earbuds can just hang like this, and when you're done with them, you can put them in like. Now, a lot of you're going to go with probably the Pulse headsets or whatever you use, but for something, I just wanted something really easy to use, and I was bitching about it not having built-in audio. I love that.
Yeah, I totally agree with that. I thought it was I didn't even use them for the first day. I just used my own headset, and I decided to throw them on. And I was like, this is awesome. This is so convenient.
You know what I also love about this, because it connects at the, so what it does is it clicks in at the 3.5 mil jack, and then it clicks in on one other side, and it's in there. Other developers, like peripheral developers, are probably going to utilize that connection point and then have full size earphones come around, and it's just going to be so ergonomic. Num, 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 num.
Totally. You mentioned head haptics, Chris. Have you? How do you feel about the head haptics?
Okay, so I'll tell you my first experience with head haptics, and it gave me a holy fuck moment. Haven't had one of those for a while, to be honest. The last time I had a holy fuck moment was the opening of Half-Life Alyx. I was like, oh, and it'd been a while, man, since I'd had one of those. I could count them on two hands, and I was doing the demo of Resident Evil 8, and I guess I'm talking Res 8. Guys, holy shit. Resident Evil 8 in VR was a religious experience for me. They were so amazing. That game, I mean, again, talking about no compromises, there's a few jagged edges in certain spots, but that's nitpicking. It was beautiful. It's beautiful. It's beautiful. That opening scene, you're like in. If you guys have played it at all or seen it, you're in like a farmer's hayfield kind of. You can see some of the houses off in the distance there, and oh my gosh, it was. I was just like, this is gorgeous. I was like, holy crap. But the haptics came in the tutorial. It gives you a handgun. You know, eject it, reload it, shoot it, two-handed, bang, bang, bang. Okay, cool. You're in a shooting range. It's like, okay, now go back over and grab the shotgun. I was like, okay, shotgun. Yeah, load it. Dunk, 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 dunk. I'm like, okay, bring it up here. Blam! And it's like, and it's this big, powerful, like it's a big, meaty AAA shotgun. Just bam!
Yeah.
And I felt like this poof. And the way the headset used it though, and the whatever the controllers were doing as well, felt like the shotgun just went like this to me. And I was like, oh my god. And I was just like, that alone, I was like, oh my god. Like it was like, it almost got me emotional. Like I was like, that is so freaking cool. It was. I'm almost tearing up right now.
If you guys are actually watching right now, you can actually see. I actually found the footage of me going through this tutorial, and you can actually see the screen shake with the headset. You can actually see the headset shake as it's.
Tried it. You did try it.
Yeah. You told me to play one more thing, so I tried it. So I played through the tutorial. I played through a bit of the beginning, and it's. I mean, other than the fact it's not made to be pretty. It's very dark and gloomy and very much a horror game. It is right up there, if not better than Horizon. I mean, Horizon, I guess, has some, the draw distance and stuff like that in Horizon is amazing. But Resident Evil is no freaking slouch, man. That game looks freaking gorgeous. Absolutely gorgeous. I couldn't believe how good it looked.
Yeah. I mean, guys, I haven't played enough of it yet. I haven't played enough of it yet, but I think that Horizon's getting all the fanfare because of like embargoes. But get wet. Get wet
for Resident Evil 8.
Yeah, there's the tagline. It'll get you wet. But I will say that this is a big statement, guys. I'm going to say that for all of you who are like, we want Half-Life Alyx. I think Resident Evil 8 is pound for pound a better game so far. Like, just knowing I've played Res 8 all the way through, and if this game continues to deliver at the level that I have experienced in the beginning, it's damn. And just to remember, guys, just so you know, this is not nearly the scary game that Res 7 was. I would say that, like, to just Resident Evil 1 and 2, that era is really what Res 7 was going for. It was much more puzzly, atmospheric, and less action focused and more horror focused, whereas Res 8 is a sequel to Res 4, basically, with the exception of like one 45-minute area is a shooter. So you either love that or hate that. I loved Res 8. I didn't actually love Res 7. I mean, I loved playing it. It was great. One time through, I was done though. It didn't. It was an experience, and I was done with it. Whereas Resident Evil 4 and 8, I like want to play through them again. Like I just love the upgrade path and just the gunplay and everything. And it's really focused on that. And man, Res 8 guys, Ryan, how about that in the very beginning there when you like have to venture into the trees and it's just black.
Yeah, and that's actually something I want to mention is just how black how black the blacks are in this headset. Like they are black. I mean, you a lot even on like Quest and stuff, they look like a dark gray. It'll look washed out. I mean, when this wants to give you like a dark headset, it is dark and it's awesome.
Well, for those of you who are again either have one and you've heard hate, or you're looking to buy one and you just don't know who to listen to, I'll tell you who to listen to besides us. Digital Foundry. If you guys know who they are the technical video game gurus, and they know their shit. That's what they do, and they loved the PSVR 2 and they loved its visuals. He said that it was pretty much one of the best headsets he'd ever experienced with some of these AAA titles, and he was talking about the quality of the OLED screens. Now he said the lenses, yeah, it lends itself to a few issues. I saw a little bit of screen door, not a lot. It depended on the color. I would say that I saw one of the issues that you do here is that on some of the high end games, sometimes you'll see a little bit of a doubling effect. I think that developers will probably get better at that. But what that is, for those who don't know, is on some of these really high end games. I noticed it on both Kayak and Horizon. I saw, and like for Kayak, I saw it on the trees. Sometimes off the pine, not the pine trees, the palm trees off in the distance. I'd see a little doubling effect there on the white sky, kind of, and I'd see it a few times in the brushes of Horizon is a slight doubling. And what that is that, I mean, the PS5 is still not a powerhouse, and it's doing a lot of tricks to get you these images, like these PC quality images are above and beyond some PCs. And what it's doing, right, is it is asynchronous time warp. So it's a doubling of frames. So it's taking what is essentially either a 60 or a 45 frame game and then doubling it. We saw this on the PSVR 1 as well, but we didn't have the resolution of visuals to catch it often like we do now. Now we can really, oh, look at that.
Mm-hmm.
And it's pushing even more visual fidelity, graphic quality wise with the foveated rendering. So we're getting a quality of image we've never seen before on a console headset. But that does come at a slight cost, and I think just some games you're going to notice it. It's just, but it's not. It never wrecked the experience. I could see it a few times. Like, it's a cost that you're going to pay. I think on some games. And it's probably going to be the higher end games. That being said, didn't notice it in GT7. GT7 was just.
So I want to get back. You talked about your headset moment there, your haptic headset moment. For me, it was Horizon actually, and we're all familiar with the trailer where that first tall neck like walks over you, and when it first comes in, it's like Jurassic Park, and it's like the most subtle rumble, and it goes shit. And as it gets closer, the rumble gets more and more intense until it's like over top of you and your whole headset's like shaking. And I was like, oh my God, I can't, this is crazy. It's like I was in the car or in one of those Jeeps in Jurassic Park. It was absolutely nuts. Like, I'm not sure. I swear to God, I think there's only supposed to be one like, rumbler, whatever, one like,
haptic
thing. Is it a haptic?
Well, it's a haptic motor, I guess, if you want.
Yeah, whatever. One motor in there. That makes more sense. One motor, and I swear to God, man, like I felt the thing going from like left to right. I'm not sure like what magic they're doing in there, but it works great.
To it, yeah. I mean, if you think about even like old school, like the PS4 controllers, they still had very able to do various sensations, not to the level of these controllers now. Like, I mean, again, yes, Shades of Grey is like motor. I definitely notice like I actually haven't played a lot of games in depth enough. I played a smattering of so many to really feel haptics. I would say again, trigger haptics in Res 8. Res 8, man, I feel like they've pulled out all the stops in this game, and I can't wait to play through it. Controller haptics in Horizon, like the water, it does this amazing job of almost feeling like you put your hand through water. It's not just
Mm-hmm.
it has a sense of like there are a few games with the old DualSense, like the Astrobot game and like WRC that did like almost the feel of rolling dirt in the controller. It can do some crazy ass shit when they take the time to do it. Um, yeah, it's some amazing stuff. It's funny, Lindsay, my wife, I put her in in the Horizon boat, and just I didn't tell her anything about the haptics. And when the tall, was it the tall legs? Is that what they
Tall neck.
Tall neck walk over? She's like, "Holy crap!" She's played the Horizon games, and she's like, "Man, you really feel the height there." And then it was like boom, boom, and you could just see this dumb little smile on her face when the haptics kind of kicked in.
Oh, and that's one thing I'll say too about Horizon. My video's going haywire. We'll just ignore that. Is that the scale of Horizons? Like you are scaling a mountain, and everything, almost as far as I can see, is like fully 3D rendered, and it looks absolutely stunning. Like it's crazy how much is being like. I just dropped like a drum off the edge just to see what. And I followed that drum so far down until it disappeared. I couldn't believe how much was happening. I haven't seen that sense of scope, I think, ever in a VR game. We've seen lots of pretty games, Half-Life Alyx, and lots of like gorgeous, amazing games, but they're typically more confined. I mean, Resident Evil is also a pretty good idea, actually. When you first come in on the castle and you're looking at that castle, and that thing is fully shifting, like it's also rendered in 3D. You don't see that often. Like I'm so used to seeing like these 2-dimensional backgrounds off in the distance, and it still happens. There's a Horizon still has like blue skies that aren't moving way back behind the mountains. It still exists, but the amount that's being rendered like right before my eyes was absolutely insane. Insane. That's it.
Yeah. I had me daydreaming a little bit about some of my experiences there. I think that, like I said, back to what I was getting at originally, though, on some of these AAA titles, just to play them and just not see compromises everywhere. Like, I mean,
No.
I know enough to know what a few things are happening. Some of it is just you just can't tell, and you just know it's doing it. I know, like, yeah, I'm reading chat here a little bit too, and they're just kind of confirming that. It was the fact that like details that you would normally not expect, you would only expect to see in flat games, high-end flat games.
Yeah. No, there's some moments in there
just
like
in VR, like grass. Like pieces of grass.
I stopped and looked at the grass multiple times. Even after that stream, I still stopped and just like damn, like I know they're like even probably like copying assets and stuff. It's the same kind of grass on the side, but it's still like every single blade, not like big reeds of grass. Every single blade of grass is like rendered before my eyes. It's crazy what's happening. It's absolutely nuts. The details in the rocks. Like I said, there's set pieces in Horizon where you get up top and you're like surrounded by like 10 waterfalls, and they all look spectacular. It's amazing. I wish the game had a little more to do besides climbing. But it's a showpiece for a reason. Like, I mean, that it should sell headsets. If I were to show someone that in a store, like, yeah, this is what VR can do right now. I don't know how you don't buy a headset. It's absolutely stunning.
Yeah. Just to address chat there, guys, what we'll do for I don't know, Ryan, what do you think for Star Wars and Horizon? Some people think they just can't keep up.
I see that. I'm seeing that.
What you could do is we could give it for the game, a couple of those higher end games, we could give it to them in 3-letter bursts.
3-letter. Well, it would be 4. We'll do 4-letter bursts.
Is it 4? 444?
444. Yeah.
Yeah. So
we can try something different than because if someone's
that'll give some people that are not sitting there just in front of a PC and the redeem thing open. A little bit of a chance there. Just again, guys, if you've just joining us, we're giving away a bunch of codes for PSVR 2 throughout the podcast. We've got a lot to give away, so and stay around because we've got, like I said, we got Star Wars, we got Horizon, we got some good codes. I wanted to talk about the detail, the level of detail. Now, this is a game that's obviously highly stylized, but 17-bit studios who did not Call the Mountain, Song in the Smoke, was interviewed by Digital Foundry and took a deep dive. It's awesome. It's really interesting, guys. I recommend you go pay attention and watch it. About the process of bringing this to the PSVR 2, because it got a lot more time and attention than even PC did. They talked about how hard it was. It was originally a PSVR 1 game only, and then they decided to do Quest, which, like, I guess just about broke the designers because it sucked. They said to make it work on that thing.
Did a good job.
And then the PC, but they really had to go in there and just like dumb down everything and redesign certain aspects of it. And what they were talking about though was with the PSVR 2, they pretty much, like, when they found out how much power they had with the PS5 and they were developing for one system and they could optimize for it, even before they looked at dynamic foveated rendering, which they said they didn't even get that information, that dev kit part, till later, way later on. I think we kind of knew that. I think we'd heard some rumors about the fact that that was coming from Sony much later on because they were still working on it, and that has now been backed up. And what they were saying was that they pretty much just maxed the game out until it broke the system, and they said it was like too much. Like the vegetation was off the charts, and it was just way too much. So then they just took it down to like where it looked normal and ran fine. And then they tweaked from there. So like I haven't played it yet, Ryan. I don't think you have either. But Song in the Smoke supposedly has way more vegetation.
Dude, I've seen the trailers, man. It looks ridiculous.
All the additional lighting and stuff's there. They were able to go in and redo smoke effects and just a lot of things that they were able to go in and do. I don't know. I go watch it, guys. It's really interesting about like when it goes into making a PSVR 2 game, and you'll give you, I think, a new appreciation for what this headset can do, because this is a developer going like, yeah, obviously our games has a stylized graphical look, but the amount of headroom that they had, especially when dynamic foveated rendering was added to it, they're like, it was amazing, like how much headroom it gave them, especially when all they had to focus on was what the eyes were looking at.
Mm-hmm.
These developers sound like they're like kids in a playroom, versus like kids that had like one toy and were told to have fun with it when they had to develop for the Quest, and they didn't hide their feelings around the freedom that they had with it. And of course, like, and then talking about doing haptics and all, it just sounds like it was a good time for them. And they said that like, it was joyous to be able to make this port. And so just really fun to hear that those experiences are happening. I hope that in turn starts to play out in developers choosing to make games for PSVR 2 first. I don't know. I guess, like, Ryan, what other games did you play that you wanted to talk about that you had moments on?
So, I dabble in a bunch of stuff. I mean, Runner is one again that I'll talk about briefly. It's got a pretty big boost on the PSVR. It definitely looked a lot crisper and sharper. Running it, I think it's got to be 120 hertz. For as far as like sense of speed and stuff goes, I thought I really enjoyed what Runner was doing. I only played it briefly. I have a PSA for NFL Pro Era. I've played all three versions: PSVR 1, Quest 2, and now PSVR 2. And the PSVR 2 is miles and away the best looking version. It's the same game across the board. Like, it still uses the same models, the same assets. It's not going to blow it out of the water in regards to what it's doing. It gets the job done. I don't mean that for that to be insulting either, but it does get the job done in regards to football and not much else. It has the resolution of the headset. The arenas look spectacular, and the fact, I mean, I went from playing PSVR 1, which has so much jaggies and so much like the second that they're not in front of you, everything's just blurry. It's a mess, and the throwing's still broken on that version. I heard the throwing was broken in that game, but I didn't know what they're talking about. Yeah, the throwing on the PSVR 1 version is garbage. The second the move controllers, they just don't register. Doesn't matter. The PSVR 2 version worked flawlessly, save for the fact that I kept encountering an issue where, in order to pass in this game, you have to look at somebody, so they're highlighted, and then you throw it, and then they catch it. So in the game, you have to highlight that person, or the game does not know that you're throwing the ball at them. that stopped working on multiple occasions. So as of right now, I think the game's broken. Unless I have like I'm the only guy experiencing this weird glitch.
Well, you
So
know what?
just
Based on your production capabilities on the
I know, right?
Virtual Boys episode, I don't know.
I'm surprised they got this working. Okay, I'm amazed that I even got this working right
This is
now.
the guy who's sitting there in his res stream. I got a black screen. I don't know what I'm doing. He didn't download the DLC.
I downloaded the DLC. I didn't download the VR patch. That's the bullshit. I updated the game, but didn't download the VR. Like, come on, man, just put it in the game. Like that is ass backwards. Regardless, So yeah, I mean, so I dove into that. Zombieland, for those of you, I'll just run through these quickly. For those of you that care about Zombieland,
they don't.
they might. It got a pretty substantial overhaul in the visuals. It went from looking like a quest game to looking much more in line with it's like everything's like lighting and everything is like all the 3D textures are there. It looks substantially better than what I remember playing. So unless the game got a massive update overall, that was all right. Like I said, RE8 definitely blew me out of the water. Horizon was something special. Star Wars was great. I'm trying to think of Swordsman. Swordsman was kind of I checked that out just morbid curiosity to see what was going on there. Because I mean, PSVR 2 patch, right? I know it got patched today, so I don't know what that's about. When I played Swordsman, it looked the exact same, other than the fact that it was a lot clearer. And that's the thing. If you're going from PSVR 1,
because that's the PC version. It's just
yeah,
feels like a very, very sharp version of the game.
Nice, distracted with the Cactus Cowboy code. You know what's funny? I never even got codes for Cactus Cowboy, so good for you.
What the hell's Cactus Cowboy?
It's on there. It's a like a little indie shooter thing. I haven't played it, so I can't say too much about it. But
There when I looked,
maybe it's coming. It was supposed to be launch day, or if it wasn't launch day, it was launch window. And he said like within a week, so maybe it's coming really soon. I haven't had a chance to play any of the rhythm stuff yet. What else did I play?
So I played Unplugged. Talking about rhythm games, I did play Unplugged briefly. Like, I mean briefly. Just to see, yeah, it's not finger tracked like the Quest version, which to me, perfectly fine with it. In fact, that's a good thing. Because I know they patched it, but
Yeah.
It wasn't good. It's not accurate enough, man. It's just not. And it looks like it uses the buttons on the controllers, and it has a little bit of the sense of the fingers being close to the buttons. But the PSVR 2 does not have hand tracking yet. So, you know, that could be something it's software because they added it to the Quest later, but I don't think, again, it's a priority for Sony. But Unplugged was fine, and it's got a lot more songs now too. So I do want to revisit that. But as far as rhythm games goes, my experience with that was it just seemed like a nicely upgraded version.
Well, that's good. I mean, so is it still content locked? Do you have any idea if it's like
I
plays the
didn't get
same?
far enough in it, but
Okay.
it did. I mean, I could see that they were still separated by albums. I don't know. I don't know if there's a free play mode. But I mean, even the old Guitar Heroes locked most of the songs behind you making it through the game. I mean, it was kind of a progression thing. I know, but but
when you're fighting tracking though, it doesn't.
I
help.
know, and that was the problem. I guess ultimately, I actually kind of like it because I do like that. I like unlocking things, and like, I mean, there's nothing better for a reward than like playable content that you are unlocking. But yeah, especially if you hate the songs that were available in the beginning. But they've added more metal, like Pantera and stuff, so I'm kind of excited to go back to that game. I wanted to before I lose track of there, because eventually we'll switch gears to state of play here. Just on the game front, one game I played that I want to say, guys, like, I mean, I was not impressed with so far, would be After the Fall. I have tried Pavlov Battle Mode. I'll get to that next. But After the Fall, like, I got to jump back into the PC version to compare to. On my PC, I was able to max out the graphics on PC. I would say the PSVR 2 is not as good as the PC looking. In fact, but here's my problem with it. I think it's a very lazy port. I think that they gave us kind of a slightly downgraded version of the PC, and I don't think they've done anything with eye tracking, because I could see I could see some foveated rendering, fixed foveated rendering happening like off in the distance with the floor. About 15 feet out, it would kind of blur the floor texture,
Huh.
and I saw a few jagged edges than I expected to. And I again, I was whipping through games. I didn't get a chance to play it extensively, and like so, I'll do more of that in an upcoming video to let you guys know. But my initial feeling is that this game was not optimized for PSVR 2. Not really. They just gave us uh, a higher resolution version of the PSVR, or the PC game, just downgraded a bit. It just doesn't feel like it got the TLC that say something like Song in the Smoke, which was like literally almost built from like the ground up to capitalize on it, and a lot of these other marquee titles that we've been talking about. It's
Hmm.
yeah, it's just not wasn't an awesome experience. Pavlov, since you asked, I played a little bit of Pavlov. This game is definitely Pavlov shows its age a little bit, actually. Like guys coming in just PSVR 1 or just Quest are going to be like, "Oh my god, it's fucking amazing." I mean, it is still a really cool game, but visually it's a little bland. Like the worlds and the textures are just not super fantastic. I prefer Contractors as a game, and I think it's a better looking game on PC. But Pavlov plays really nice. It didn't use eye tracking for the gun and attachment, which I was really hoping was due, because the game's always had this horrible analog stick menu system on that you do in game, and it's if you've played it, you know what I'm talking about. But with the exception of that, it felt good. They did use the dual sense. That felt awesome. Had a big LMG, and I was just like, and I could just feel it in the triggers and the controllers, and it just played really good. So, I mean, again, didn't get in depth on it. It's got a ton of modes in it. It's got a ton of content. It's not going to have all the mods, but I am curious to see how much is in there compared to the PC version that got like the World War One or World War Two and tanks. I can't talk about that content yet. That'll be one of my earlier reviews, but I would say hell yeah. If you're thinking about Pavlov, again, can't confirm. I don't know unless you've heard something, Ryan. Whether it's crossplay with PC, it wouldn't be Quest. That's its own thing. But PC, I don't know if it's crossplay as long with all the content that's not mods.
Yeah, I don't
Um,
know. I haven't dove into Pavlov or done anything
Unfortunately, I
at
think
all.
most of the
So
people playing on PC are playing almost entirely mods. So I don't know. We'll see what they do with mods. Maybe they'll add some mods. I mean, maybe. Um, some games have done that, obviously curated mods. So we'll see what happens with that. But that's as far as I can talk about Pop One. One thing before I hand it over to you, Ryan, I just want to address. Somebody asked about cord length and how I felt about or the cable length and such. It's exactly the same length basically as the PSVR 1. It's actually zero point 0.4 of a meter smaller, according to the internet. And so I would, but it's super light. It's a cable. I mean, I have cable management that goes along the roof in my. I'm lucky enough to have like a little play studio here, and the cable's not really long enough for that. But I have seen enough videos to know that if you get as long as you get a decent USB-C cable, it sounds like putting on one like good. Don't quote me on this. Go watch some videos on it. But I feel like it's if you put like one good like 8-foot extension on there, it's perfect. What's nice again, console gaming, gotta love it. If you put too much length on it, it just says it can't do it, and it just shuts down. So it won't just give you like it won't just mess up on PC or something. It just won't do it. So, but you can add an extension. So with an extension on this, I think I'd be fine. I'm just used to having about 16 feet, and what's 4.4 meters in? I guess that's actually
it's like
yeah. It's
12
like
feet.
14 feet, something like that. Close
It's
to that.
long.
Yeah, it's a little short for what I'm doing with it, but for anyone else, I think unless you're going up and along your roof and like I am, it's lots of cable, and it's nice and light. I like that it can come off the headset, so you don't have to worry about wrecking it. No more of this like disconnecting the HDMI's at that halfway point, which I can't tell you how many spark matches I lost because I got a little bit too into it and ended up unplugging my headset.
So yeah, and so two things I forgot to mention is I played Thumper, which is the same game really, other than the dramatic visual boost and the haptics, which actually do make that game even more intense. Every time you get hit, your headset rumbles, and every time you're going left to right, the haptics and the controllers vibrate. It does make it even more visceral. I have a soft spot in my heart for Thumper. And this is definitely the best version to play, I guess, if you're going to play any version. But it's not a substantial upgrade, really, other than that's that visual boost. But it's dramatic, and that game is flashy in its simplicity, so it does look striking in the headset. There's no way around that. And then I also dove into Tetris as well. Tetris Effect, and I just played the PSVR 1 version before I've actually both Thumper. No, I didn't play Thumper PS1. Tetris I did, sorry. So Tetris I went from PSVR 1 to PSVR 2, and once again, it's that visual boost is next level. It does make everything look like really, really crisp. Like a lot of those background visuals, they look good on the PSVR 1. I thought they looked fine. Jumping from the PSVR 1 to PSVR 2, I was like, God damn, that's good going from SD to HD. There is a huge boost.
I remember feeling that Tetris was beautiful but needed to be sharper. Because I actually played a lot of it flat, and I just remember, like, because it's so easy to play it flat, I actually remember just going, damn, it's just not sharp enough. Yeah.
So that was good, and then there's once again the haptics too. The way they balance the sound and with the beats in the haptics and in both the controller and the headset are also kind of next level. It's like a further way to Tetris doesn't belong in VR. Tetris so belongs in VR. Specifically because of PSVR 2.
Just about the giveaway there, Mindjive was talking about getting a chat box that does giveaways. Yeah, guys, we'll look into that. Normally we've just been giving away old codes and stuff, but you're right. If we're giving away something great, I think for this, we'll just do what we can. I don't really know how else to do it on the fly. So, I can't. I don't want to get inundated with emails like I did for the Shugness giveaway.
Oh no, there's a solution here. There's a solution. We'll find it.
But I guess one thing I wanted to mention that did come up, again, this is mostly for any of you who are doing content creation. I actually heard that one of the problems that Digital Foundry was running into was that even capturing it through a capture card, like actually capturing the social screen from a capture card, it maxes out it'll do 4K, but it maxes out at 60 frames. I don't know if you knew this, Ryan. And it actually causes some screen tearing on games that are going for 90 or 120, regardless of whether they're using asynchronous time warp to cheat that or they're actually getting it natively. And so it's not on all games, but they did see some screen tearing, and they showed it too. Like even Moss had screen tearing when they were trying to capture it, and therefore they said, unfortunately, it also means that for the Digital Foundry, until Sony adjusts that, they can't actually do any of their hardcore tests for frame pacing and just what it's really doing behind the scenes, because they have all the abilities to do that, and they can't do it. So it's just something that you might also see in gameplay footage is what I'm putting out there. So if you guys see screen tearing in anyone's review footage and such, it might be just the limitations of what we can capture and the high frame rates that the headset is doing. So, I mean, whatever. It's just a thing I think that people should know. One other fun fact: if you only have one eye, you're screwed. This is not this is an accessibility feature, I guess. It needs two eyes to track. Needs it. Like the system literally will not play VR if you don't have two eyes. So I don't know. I don't know if fake eyes count. But it's for those of you who have one eye, or yeah, that sucks.
That's crazy. I mean, that sucks. I mean, it's kind of, you do have one eye already, but you'd lose something in VR as it is. But yeah, that sucks.
Ryan, is there anything else you wanted to talk about? I feel like I've kind of run the gambit, at least as far as kind of the headset. My first experiences on the headset goes. Like I said, I mean, my last night I jumped into GT7, Res 8. I jumped into Call of the Mountain, obviously. I played a little bit of Pavlov, a little bit After the Fall, a little bit of Unplugged. Yeah, I mean, I kind of jumped into I was trying a smattering of experiences, because I kind of had access to just about everything. I haven't played Star Wars yet, just because of that slow start. I kind of left that up to you, but that one, there's a side by side comparison, guys. You should go check that out. Um, so do that if you want to see the differences between the Quest and the PSVR. I love that Ryan kind of broke it down for people, because sometimes I think it's lost on the real differences between the headset, like when you're in the headset, because the social screen hides a lot of those jagged edges and fuzziness that like the Quest and the PSVR 1 used to get. And so I think that's really important. But I don't know, Ryan, we're at 8:10. We're running at 70 minutes. Do you want to talk state of play here?
Oh yeah, we can just say to play, sure. So obviously, guys, we've mentioned before, like after launch, it's like, what's happening? What's going on? We don't know outside of yesterday what's coming next, other than a few random things here and there. We know that Creed is getting a game that I'm forgetting all the games now. Before Your Eyes, whatever it's called. That's actually on State of Play, I guess. I'll put that video up right now. But we don't know what's coming. And I will say the most disappointing thing about the State of Play is the fact that we still haven't gotten. Like, I was kind of looking forward to like the next first party Sony title, even if it's just a teaser text, like Uncharted VR or something. And I don't expect Uncharted, but just something from a first party studio. So I was a bit disappointed that we didn't get that. Now, that being said, as disappointed as I was by that,
before you dive before you dive into games, I just want to give you my initial impression too here, is
sure.
that I felt the same way. I mean, ultimately, I was really happy that Sony gave some PSVR 2 like some respect and put it on the front end. Even if it did feel a little bit like, here's some indie games, and now here's the stuff that like for the stuff you came for. But I mean, for us at least, it was front and center, and they weren't shying away from the PSVR 2. I felt like they could have hyped it up a little bit more. I ultimately feel like Sony missed an opportunity again to make a couple of big promises for those who just got their headset or are on the bubble. Like just something, because we know they've got some big titles in the works, and again, like not even talking Res 4 VR, which kind of just got confirmed. If you guys didn't know, the reimagining version that's coming out of Resident Evil 4, we're gonna get. They've confirmed that they are working on a VR port. Just started on the VR port though, of that game. So we are gonna get that. That's amazing. That means we're getting Resident Evil 8 Village quality again in Res 4. Oh, one of my favorite games of all time. But I just felt like that was what was missing from this, was any big promises. This goes back to Ryan and I just like, lie to us. I kind of wish that there was something again that like also for all the people who were watching State of Play to see that PSVR had some heavy hitters coming.
Mm-hmm.
If you weren't a VR guy, because I feel like this was all these games were kind of interesting to me.
Yeah.
But if you're a flat gamer, there's nothing in that, I don't think, with maybe Green Hell VR, we'll get into that, that's like, ooh. At least, from a name basis, from an IP. I was hoping there'd be at least something that would really get us talking.
Well, and that's what, as much as I want to say, like, I'm disappointed that we didn't see, like, I guess, yeah, we didn't see like a known IP coming. What we did get, which was awesome, was new games from End Dreams and from Archaeact. And Archaeact we haven't heard from in quite a while, actually. And End Dreams, I mean, very much, you even said in the trailer, but they are building off the Fract engine and, like, giving us, like, what looks to be a much more fuller experience involving a lot more mechanics. It's like telepathy, or I guess not telepathy, telekinesis rather. And they're like lifting up boxes and crushing guys and throwing them, and you can totally see all the Fract, like he was grabbing the cover and pulling himself up. I was like, I've seen that engine before.
Do we want? Are you talking about? Do we want to break games apart here or what?
I guess that's what we're doing.
Yeah. Like, Foglands was first. I got it written down.
Sure, let's go over Foglands. I'll rewind this. I got too many things here now. Talk Foglands. Foglands.
Okay, so Foglands, I mean, I like a good roguelite. I saw some people comparing it to the Light Brigade, which guys, I mean, we haven't talked about that actually, funny enough, because I actually didn't get PSVR 2 codes yet. Hoping those are incoming soon, because I loved the PC version of the Light Brigade. The Quest version felt like it was pushing the Quest pretty hard. They patched it a little bit, but it's better. But I just really enjoyed my version, my experience therefore on the PC. So I really want. I think it would be in my top 5 launch titles to buy. And Foglands looks like it's similar. It looks like it had a cool vibe, some cool art styles going to it. It didn't. I wouldn't say it looked AAA, but it looked really cool.
Mhm.
It looked neat. I want to see more. I want to see it. It looked like it might have been, still early days a little bit, with it. But
It
it looked
definitely had a cool like horror style. Like it definitely looked like it was going for the surreal, and I'm always down for
It
that.
didn't look questy.
It didn't look questy. I'll give it that. Yeah, it looks interesting. I want to see more. That one was from Archeact, right? Am I mixing up my games now?
No,
Yeah, that's
you're
Archeact.
mixing up games. No.
Yeah, Archeact. Yeah.
No.
I just talked about. Yeah.
No, Archeact was Journey to Foundation.
Right. Sorry.
I took notes.
Good.
Anyways, Foglands was someone I'd never heard of before.
Right.
So, I mean, at least not off the top of my head, but it looks great. I mean, it looks cool. I mean, I will say that, like, with the exception of a few of these games, all of them just said 2023 or coming soon. So that was really nothing to say other than Foglands looks like it's on its way, and it looks like it's going to be fun, especially if you like shooters. Next up was Green Hell VR, and I'm really excited to see how Green Hell, the PSVR 2 version of that is. I've heard some people say, like, oh, what did they say? That it was the Quest version that we were getting. I don't believe that, especially if
I don't believe that
footage today. I mean, if it is there were 2 teams that worked on this, and if it is the Quest version, like the Quest like mechanics, it looks like it's got PC visuals. I will tell you though, even with my 3080, Green Hell kicked my computer's ass, especially when you.
Yeah, it's no joke.
And like it had some really dynamic lighting in there that you could turn on. Ambient occlusion, that's the word I was looking for. And it kicked my computer's ass, especially if I wanted to play it with like everything else on. Really excited to see if they take the time and use the dynamic foveated rendering, because I feel like this game needs it. I didn't really enjoy my time on this in the Quest, because the entire time I was playing it on the Quest, it was like, this is great for a Quest. It's amazing for a Quest. I can't believe they did this on the Quest. But all I saw was compromises visually, and like all over the place. And for a game that was like in a jungle and all about immersion, it just kept breaking immersion for me. And like, if you look at that, the visuals we're seeing in the trailer, that looks like the PC version. It looks amazing. Yeah, that was my take. I mean, Ryan, funny enough, is the one that reviewed Green Hell, and I haven't played a lot of it actually. But so that is just me looking at it, going, I really want to be playing that. And I'm the survival guy. Funny.
I haven't played it since it launched. Other than a quick dive in the PC version, I think. And it was definitely like some of the mechanics in the Quest version. I appreciated better. It's like they went. I know Green Hell is like a survival game, but some of the mechanics I found to be a bit more obtuse on the PC version than the Quest version, and some were just more streamlined in the Quest version, which I think was fine as far as like building fires and stuff. There's just some extra steps in the PC version that just seemed unnecessary and confusing. And it's one of those things where once you know, I guess. But I hope it's still the PC version, because yeah, the PC version, I had to dumb it down not crazy, but dumb it down for my 2070.
Yeah.
And it still looked like there was a lot going on. It's a lush jungle in VR, so there's a lot happening. Every single leaf is being rendered, and it moves with the wind and the night skies and water and all. Yeah, it's a big game. So I really hope it is that version. I mean, if they can scale up the Quest version, I guess to a point where it's on par with the PC version, and I suppose it's the same thing. But
we don't know. I mean, again, not being a developer, I'm not sure. They might be able to take the PC assets.
But I'm not sure.
And use some of the mechanic foundations of the Quest, right? We have heard that between PC and Quest, there is actually quite an easy port job. So
Hmm.
it was the PSVR 1 that was a cunt because it was such different architecture. The PSVR 2 or the PS5, I guess, is much easier to port to PC. So that's just good news all around for us on PSVR 2 because we're more likely to see those PC ports and such like that, and just PSVR 2 hand in hand. On a side note, people keep talking about Samurai Slaughterhouse in here. Ryan, what do you know? What's your most updated? Because you played an early build of that.
I
Where's
played
that
a super
game
early
at?
build. As far as I know, he actually, I think he switched focus to the Quest to get that going on the Quest. I think it's because the money's there. But I know it wasn't anywhere close to launch. I talked to him about the window. He basically, I can probably bring up the tweet actually. It'd be a little bit, but it's not going to be, it's not anytime soon, guys. I think he's also changed the scope of the game quite dramatically and it's only gotten bigger and bigger. So I don't know what his timeline is for that, but it's not, don't hold your breath, I guess is what I'm saying, at least for the time being. Cause yeah, it sounds like he's really making it into something even more special than it already was going to be. So I'll look at that right now, but I'm positive he didn't tell me anything specific.
Cool. On that note, the next game was Synapse, and that was the In Dreams. It's the Fracked and White game.
Yeah, Fracked and White.
Well, I don't know what I think of that, man. I don't know. I don't know what I think of that art style. I feel like I feel like part of me is kind of like if I've invested this money in a OLED display with HDR support, which Digital Foundry again was raving about, saying like the lenses, sure, there's some issues a little bit there, but the screens themselves are getting amazing colors, amazing blacks. And they said it really is like, even if you're playing, we didn't talk about like theater mode. If you want to, they're like, if you're playing some of your game, if you're playing, especially if you're playing a game that's like a 4K game, and you're in theater mode, playing it on big screen, he's like, it really is like, he's like having a big screen 4K and a good OLED screen, like a high end OLED TV, because of like the quality of what it was showing. And I think that again, people bitching about the price, it's important to know what you're getting. You know, it's not just like the Quest is Quest 2 is an LCD screen with horrible blacks and other issues as well. I mean, again, great for what it is, but this is premium VR, like what you're buying with the PSVR 2. And yeah, the contrast is just sick. So,
Quick before you do that, the update I got from Justin there at Tab Games was he only got the dev kit in December, so it won't make launch, but he's definitely planning on it being released this year.
did you literally just ask him?
No, I pulled up my old. I had asked him like last month.
Oh, there you go.
Yeah, so he said he definitely will be launching definitely this year though is what he said. So
definitely 2024.
yeah, definitely from a developer. So you don't know what that means.
So anyway, Synapse looks cool. Synapse, I think, was the one that you were talking about, had like all the telekinesis and shit going on. The gameplay looks sick. In Dreams made Fracked, guys, and they did Shooty Fruity and they did Phantom Covert Ops, and I loved all those games. This looks very like building on Fracked, at least some of the gameplay, the smoothness of gameplay. But it's that the black and white with the splashes of color, I'm sure is going to look really cool in the headset. But it's just jumped out at me as like, no, vibrant. I want Call of the Mountain. Like what's this black and white display? I'm sure it's going to like that. The color palette it looks like it's going to be used like as a gameplay mechanic, but that was just kind of my initial takeaway. Was like, okay, this looks kind of cool, but meh, I don't know.
We'll see more. I mean, we both enjoyed Fracked a fair bit. It was just criminally short. But I'm looking to see if they're expanding upon that and making this. I mean, it looks like a much more faster paced game. I'm down, man. I mean, they haven't really put out anything since Fracked, and that was 2 years ago. So if they've been working on this solely, then
that long.
Yeah, buddy.
Well, that studio In Dreams has been working on a bunch of stuff, like growing their studio too, and getting into a bunch of other facets.
They got some huge funding a couple of years ago. Huge funding. So
you know, when this game, when Synapse when they first started showing, actually, it wasn't this one. I think it was actually another game coming up here. I was getting Farpoint vibes, but I'm getting Fracked vibes in the speed of gameplay. Like it looks like it could be a speedrunner's game. It looks like it's going to be like it looks like it's I wouldn't say arena based, but if you watch that footage, it definitely looks like it's going to be very arcadey and all about like speed of movement and getting through enemies and such. It doesn't look like it's narrative heavy, just from that gameplay. But oh, Salvador, dude, like, thank you so
Did
much.
you read what he said there? He had to send his headset back because the lens was all scratched up.
That's
That sucks, man. My heart goes out
that's
to you.
my worst fear.
I know, right?
And for someone who's wearing glasses, I was so scared to put those up. Like, I'm definitely not getting the field of view because I was like, I kept putting my hands up here, which I do like about the deep facial interface here. I was able to get my finger up in here and make sure that I was getting that distance. Because again, for you glasses people, you got to be careful with those halo straps because they can hold on your forehead. And then you go like this, and the glasses can push out. Careful with that. I talked to VR Wave. They said they'll have lenses in a couple of months. And what is it? VR Rock or something reached out?
VR Rock, yeah.
And I think that we're gonna probably do something and review that. So I really want those lens so I can just put them in and not worry about my glasses. So I don't care if my glasses get scratched. I don't want to scratch the lenses. But Salvador, that sucks. But thank you so much, man, for the
We very much appreciate it, Salvador. You are the man.
Because we're gonna be broke after all these games we have to buy.
Yes, we will be broke after this. This is crazy.
Well, and then we we each are getting capture cards to get that the 4K HDR footage to you guys in YouTube. So that's like 600.
I got to talk to you about that, by the way,
Okay.
after.
So that's the thing. But we appreciate anything that you guys do to support the channel, even if it's just being here and shooting the shit with us. The next game, though, unless you want to say more about Synapse.
Nope, we're good.
Was Journey to Foundation. Now, I have not read the books, the Isaac Asimov books, but I have watched the show, and
look at you go.
The show is awesome. It's on Apple, and so I'm not subscribing to Apple. I refuse. So I torrented it. But I mean, guys, like if you're looking for your next fix after The Expanse, The Foundation is sick. And
sick.
And it's got a cool ass story. And if this game is pulling from that lore, this is the Archaeac game, so at least it's a studio too that like I trust a little bit with this. This looks, I feel like that might be early days that we're seeing too a little bit in it, but it looks like it could be a meaty narrative driven campaign with some depth. Like people were saying, oh, I'm getting Mass Effect vibes, man. If they put some depth into the gameplay too, I'm just saying Journey to Foundation could be something that people get really excited about in and out of flat gaming. So
yeah, it was cool. I agree with you. It does look like it could be a little bit earlier. Or at least they chose a very simple like style for like the character models and stuff, which kind of belies that it may not look as good as it does. But then you see that outside shot where that ship is like flying in space, and you can see all the details. Looks absolutely nuts. So yeah, it definitely feels.
It looks good. Like I wasn't getting vibes of Quest or PSVR 1. And again, that's not really to shit on those headsets for those of you who have those headsets. It's just that I guess as someone who's really excited about this brand new headset we've got and the promise of high-end gaming, that's I'm looking for next level. And not all of these scream that to me, but Journey to Foundation looked like it was of a higher quality than we've been getting.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, as I said, I'm pumped. We haven't seen Archaeac for quite a while. I can't even think of the last game they put out. It's been a minute for sure. It's something after. I'm forgetting names of games now. There was that co-op game that came out there, where it's just the same level over and over and over again. You never fought a boss. It was just ridiculous.
Oh, are you talking about Evasion?
Evasion. You fought bosses, but they were just like the same.
Evasion had so much promise.
Oh yeah,
for the kind of game it was. It wasn't long enough. It wasn't hard enough. It just didn't have enough. And yeah, that was an Archaeac game.
That was a while ago though. And I mean, I know they fixed some stuff in that game, but it still was very, very dull, very boring. I like said, like go through the level. All right, now go back to the level you just at. Oh, really? We're just.
You know what? I'll give you a comparison. For someone who beat Returnal, I loved Returnal. If they had brought Returnal's gameplay to Evasion, woo! That's all I'll say. I mean, I know Savage Gamer liked it, but I don't know what to tell you. I actually really didn't like Evasion. I didn't give it a great review. I was really
No, it wasn't
disappointed with
good.
it. It was very weak. Especially they promised a bullet hell shooter, and there was nothing bullet hell about that. And
No, it was.
there was no upgrade tree, not really. And there was just not a lot of like weapon choice. There's just no real reason to play it. It got really boring really quick. I remember my trigger finger. I was like, oh my god.
They fixed that, but yeah, no,
I
you're
know.
not wrong.
It just had a lot of, but it looked great.
Yeah.
I remember it looked like Farpoint in many ways.
What's next, Chris?
What is next? So we got one more, and this was Before Your Eyes, and I gotta say, I didn't really care.
You're wrong about one more. We got two more.
3, that's 5, man.
No, there was more.
Well, there was that dog one from the makers of Tetris or something.
Humanity, coming to PSVR 1 and PSVR 2, and there's a demo available now, apparently.
That game screams you need drugs to get the full experience of this game.
I don't know what that game is. It looks like Lemmings, but it's more. It looks weird. I don't know.
It looks weird.
But yeah, but quick, Before Your Eyes, we already kind of seen that. We already knew this was coming. So it was kind of a weird trailer to throw in here because we already knew it was coming. It's coming March 3rd or something like that, or March 9th. It's coming very soon, a couple weeks. I'm looking forward to it because it's basically every time you blink, you time travel, and it's obviously a very narrative heavy story. Definitely more my jam than yours, Chris. But I'm actually excited to see how that works out.
Yeah, sure. I mean, and then I guess Res 4 was talked about. Is that where you were getting your second game?
Well, Humanity was the other one. And then Res 4 was mentioned, but yeah, not no mention of VR whatsoever. It just showed obviously not VR footage. So
but we did get confirmation, guys, on Twitter from Capcom that it was confirmed not just like VR content, but a VR port of Res 4. Oh, and that looks so good. As someone who played the crap out of Resident Evil 4 flat and VR, I've beaten it like 5 times. Man, I mean, I can identify some of the areas in that game, but they look so.
Well, I could just from playing the Quest version, right? March 10th for Before Your Eyes. But yeah, the Quest version I saw, I was like, I just did that. Only it looks substantially better.
So good. You know, I don't know, man. Before Your Eyes looks like kind of an art VR game. I know that has its place, and there's a lot of people that might really enjoy that, especially if you're not a shooter person. But
I'm down.
Yeah.
I like weird, unique uses of VR. I just do. Like, if they work, I think they're pleasant. I mean, more often than not, they don't work. But just the idea that no one's ever tried this before, and with the head, you couldn't do this without having eye tracking in the headset, has me excited for it. I'm not like, Jack, this would be the best thing ever, but I am excited to see something totally new in VR.
So yeah, that was kind of state of play, and my general takeaway again was like, cool. I'm happy to see them get some mentions. I felt like for a launch lineup that had a lot of Quest ports and PSVR and Quest ports and PSVR 1 upgrades, that this was like at least nice to see fresh titles.
Yeah.
But
I was worried, like Gorn, Wanderer. Yeah, I was totally worried they were going to do that. So I was actually was happy about that.
But I just, I guess it's just like I can't help but like looking at it through the eyes of a flat gamer, and this is like, and it's just had its launch, and there's just PSVR 2, and it was like, felt like they missed an opportunity. They could have. We know they've got some big guns. Even if it was a year out, it was like, come on, like, give people some excitement, something to like really salivate for down the line. But it's just. These look good. They look good. It just I was hoping for at least one banger. Although I guess technically Res 4 in VR is kind of that. But again, I was hoping for like Farpoint 2 or even an IP that people just knew, like one of Sony's big games. Like, you know, we didn't see any real hybrid titles, not really.
Yeah, that's kind of it. Like we're still waiting on, like, you know, I shouldn't say waiting on the promise. We just talked about GT7, Resident Evil 8, and Horizon, and those are honestly next level VR experiences. Despite whatever shortcomings each game has individually, they're not all perfect by any stretch. But as far as next level of VR goes, I mean, that's what we're talking about. So yeah, so it's just. now that we know what we know, what's next? Because right now we're both overwhelmed. Everyone's overwhelmed. There's 40 whatever 6 titles, whatever's happening now in the next few weeks. There's like over 50 games to play in the next few weeks, and for a lot of people who don't have quests, this is all brand new. There are now 50 brand new games you never got to play before, or maybe most of them never got to play before. And now they're here, so there's a lot to chew through. 100%. But a month from now, 2 months from now, when will we start being like, all right, like I've beaten RE7, I've wrapped GT7 or RE8, I've beaten GT7, I've gone through Horizon, I found all the collectibles. Like I need another banger, and we're not seeing that yet in regards to IPs and what we were told. Like this is PSVR 2. So I don't want to be. The point is, I'm not trying to shit on this. I'm disappointed that we're not seeing that yet. It's still super early. We're still digesting what we got now, so it's fine. I can let it go for now. But at some point in time in the future, they're going to have to answer with something big from Sony.
Yeah.
Horizon and GT7 is not enough. Yep. Not for like the next year. So that's the point I'm making. And I'm like I said, I'm totally happy with this launch. I'm fine with what I got. I have too much to play right now. It's awesome. But
now, yeah, I get that.
That's it.
But people are talking about June. They're doing a big showcase. That they need to get us excited there. I want to talk just briefly. The chat's been talking a lot about Project Wingman. I don't want to rain on your parade.
But he's going to.
No, not quite. I have played it in VR and PC, and my takeaway from that was kind of meh. I will say, it didn't. It feels like a poor man's. It feels like almost a clone of Ace Combat, but it feels like a poor man's Ace Combat, and I felt that playing it made me want to go play the GT7 VR mode on the PSVR 1. Even though I was playing on a PC with a higher res headset, I still was looking. That experience was way better. Like just the way it did everything from the rain to the ice freezing up, and just the feeling of speed and the way it did the controls. Project Wingman. I'm hoping it gets more attention and love, knowing it's going to be a PSVR 2 game. That's just my takeaway on it. It just left me feeling a little meh. Like it wouldn't make me run out and buy a HOTAS. I just wouldn't. It's not there for me yet, but it could be. I mean, I only played it when it first kind of came out, and the HOTAS implementation was a little rough too. But regardless, it's something to look forward to, but it needs some work. And but I wanted to go back. There's 2 things that we forgot to talk about. One specifically I forgot to talk about. I played No Man's Sky. Totally forgot to mention that.
You did. I had no idea.
I did not play a lot of it. I did play enough of it to kind of give people a heads up if they're wondering. Because for me, that was a real, like, I really wanted to see that, because that was another game that could, like, really could break my PC if I tried to max it out, because it was had flat game graphical settings that you really had to toggle down for VR. And it came out with DLSS support on PC, and that made a huge difference. Made it way better, but even then, I had to be careful with how I set my settings up. And I would say the PSVR 2 version looks like the PC version, but not quite as high as I was running it on the PSVR. Don't know if it was using dynamic foveated rendering. I think it was. It definitely didn't have like the pop-in was at least under control. That's just a thing that the game's always had. But it looked fairly good off in the distance. It looked much better than the PSVR 1 version, but it didn't look as quite as crisp as I was managed to get it on the PC with DLSS support. But again, with the way that they continually upgrade their games, I could see some further optimization. I think that's something we're going to see with PSVR 2 is I think we're going to see a lot of optimization patches for developers who start fine-tuning the dynamic foveated rendering or implementing it even. Like after the fall, like I love to see them patch that in because it's just not there. But I just wanted to say that No Man's Sky is definitely the upgrade that I think a lot of people were hoping it would be. But again, just knowing how it compares to like say high-end PCs, like if Ryan does a side-by-side comparison footage, I think you'll probably see that it's not quite at the level, but definitely a generation leap for those on PSVR 1, even playing the PS5 version. But anyways, that's that's uh that's just my take on it. The one thing we didn't talk about, Ryan, and I don't know if you what else you wanted to talk about after I mentioned this, but tracking. We didn't talk tracking
I mean, I mentioned in the beginning I had no problems tracking.
because I know some people are having trouble with tracking. Um, I've seen that in the comments. You know, it's weird because it's like I've seen people like, "Oh, your TVs, Windows, those could cause issues." I can't definitively tell you that no, that isn't causing issues, but I mean, this has the same tracking as the Quest, which is it tracks infrared. So
Yeah.
it needs light, some light, but it doesn't need. It's not like using. It's not tracking light. I guess not traditional light. So I can't see Windows and TV screens causing issues with tracking with infrared. I've never had that problem, but
Yeah,
I don't know. I think it's probably going to come down more to just people's lighting and their calibration of the setup. It's too early of days, and maybe there's some software patches that are going to help with that, but I haven't really had a lot of problems. I know there's an enhanced tracking. It says if you're having issues. I don't really know what that's doing. I didn't need it. I didn't turn it on. I was doing some tracking tests with the controllers. The two big things for me is bringing the controllers down beyond the cameras and back up and seeing if it's like how it's doing with some of the estimation of that movement because it does lose track of it. Like on the HP Reverb G2 on PC, brutal. Like you would go down and when you brought the hands up, it would pop up when it would catch up with them. And it was like it was unplayable for two-handed gun games and stuff. This is great. I didn't notice any occlusion when I was playing Resident Evil 8. Was bringing up the guns. Like I brought up the sniper rifle and the scope. I was like, scope in PSVR. Oh my god. But I didn't have any tracking issues. Did you have any tracking issues with the bow in Horizon?
No, I mean it's kind of a cheat system there. You can kind of shoot with your eye tracking. So like you're a sharpshooter. I mean, it doesn't work all the time. But I mean, just because your eye, like I had no issues with the bow. Nothing that stood out. I mean, I didn't hit every shot, but I wouldn't expect to anyways. And I still landed more than enough. I haven't died in battle yet or anything. So no, nothing crazy. No specific issues other than just like one-offs or random whatever. It's just some gameplay stuff in Horizon I'll cover in a review. But nothing as far as the tech goes, I guess.
I didn't have any tracking issues though. No,
No.
not really. I mean, I'm lucky, I guess. I don't know. I mean, this is just how it's going to happen, and haters are people that are having problems. Not to be haters, but people that are having problems are going to be the loudest. And
yeah,
and I don't like that I'm hearing a lot of issues with controllers. That's not good. But I feel like the tracking might just be on a case by case basis. But until I think we have more experience just across the board with it, it's pretty plug and play, and the tracking they're only going to get better with software updates. The Quest continually patches improved algorithms for guessing where controllers and what they're doing based on the gyros and stuff. So right now it's really good. And again, for you guys coming from PSVR 1, just 360 degrees and just like it's just you just don't have to think about it. It's awesome. I had no problems with that. One thing I would mention, just again to the what you call it, not the cinema screen, whatever they call that screen. My brain is failing me right now, but I did try a couple of flat games just to see how it plays, and I will say that you want to stick to games that are 4K. Because I played, it was a PS4. I've been playing Mafia 3 actually because Mafia 1 had come out, and yeah. Woo, the resolution, like you really see it. It's like playing a VHS tape on an HD TV. Like I got that sense of like, oh man, this really shows. It's just a big ass screen, But I will say, if you use some of the 4K content in some of these newer games, like if you were to jump into say like I don't know, like graphic fidelity with Hogwarts, I'm sure it's. I mean, there might be only 2K screens in front of your face, but I mean, if you guys have a 65-inch TV and you sit more than 9 feet away, you're not even the 4K anyway. And so it was good. It was good. Um, Interesting. Savage Gamer just said that Light Brigade on PSVR 1 can't buy it. Oh, I do know the answer to that. PSVR 1 version was delayed. It's not any. There's no release date. It's just it got pushed because his priority was all the other versions. So, who knows when the PSVR 1 will launch?
Chris,
Hate to say that to you, man.
I'm sick of you talking, man.
I'm sorry.
You know what? It's all good. We're going to end this soon. But before we end it, obviously, guys, you can see the video playing. It's Call of the Mountain. And here's the code for Call of the Mountain. Ah! Surprise! So, yeah.
Is that your Fozzie Bear?
Ah! Yeah. No, this is, luckily we got a double up on a code here. Not double up, I guess. I got a press code. So I ordered my Call of the Wild. So this is my code going to you guys. So, or Call of the Wild. Call of the Mountain, rather.
Yeah, this is your code, hey?
Yep, technically this is my code. I couldn't, man, if I would have gave away the Sony code, I would have been blacklisted.
Did you give Star Wars away?
Did I? No, I didn't do Star Wars. Maybe that's next episode now. Got to come back, guys. You got to come back.
Oh,
We gave away a lot of codes, Chris.
Oh, fine. I'm just generous. Ryan's got to keep me reeled in here.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 codes. I gave away 9 codes today. Shut up.
All right. I don't know. I mean, we're bringing things to a close here. I ultimately am. I am pleasantly blown away, is how I will put it. I guess I was excited for this for VR. I was excited to see a couple of those games. I was just really happy all around for everyone to play it. But, like I wasn't going from PSVR 1 to this. I wasn't going from Quest to this. I did have PC. I played a lot of these games. But I will say, overall, it was so nice to come back to console VR in this. I guess I'll bring it full circle, echoing some of how you started this conversation, is that I love PC VR for all the things, like we talked about Quest. I love it for what it can do. I love PC VR for what it can do. I love that you could do all the mods. I love that you can go nuts with controller support and haptic support, and you can, if a game doesn't do what you want it to do, someone's probably gonna mod and fix it. And if you have a massive PC like I do, sometimes you can just brute force your way through games graphic wise, and it's nice to be able to have options and control. But with that comes a lot of fiddling and sometimes jank and just issues of drivers and folders and a game, and games that are at their core have been made and optimized for nothing because they have to run on everything. And to just jump into the PSVR, man, just be like, just in the headset, just like GT7. And also I have to say, like, with the solid state drive, that is so sweet. It's just games and jumping to games. It's like GT7, Res 8, No Man's Sky, just jumping into games and just experience and just boom, boom, boom. Not Steam VR, like having issues handshaking with Oculus and just like, nah, I don't like this. And this game is just not, I just don't want to run this today because something you did on your PC does not agree with me. And just worked. It's just so easy. It's so like it brought a bit of a joy back, because I don't think I realized how much I was feeling like playing VR on PC was a bit of a chore, because I was always kind of going in expecting to fight it.
Yep.
And it was just a game that was optimized for that experience, and it was and like to not have to worry about frame rate, because they took care of that. They made sure it ran well. Like GT7 was that moment for me. It was just like it was a running start in the game, because I was doing a time trial, and so all of a sudden I was just in the car and I was just like, oh my god, it just ran beautifully instead of like in and out 20 times with Project Cars and having to restart every time I did a major graphical change. And having to jump from the wheel to the controller, and then like motion controllers don't work. Oh my god. Just so nice. So nice.
I agree.
I love it. I'm really happy. I'm excited for the win. I just saw your who won. I'm just really excited for the future of PSVR 2. I mean, we've talked so much about what Sony did or didn't do, but here it is. I mean, what we have, I'm really happy with. And like I said before, for those people that like to hate on it, for like, oh wow, it's only had a few games. I'm telling you, man, there are more games to be excited about on the launch of PSVR 2 than the last 2, maybe even 3 years of PCVR. I mean, go look at our top 10 PC titles. Like, people bitch that we put Hitman in there. Yeah, Hitman shouldn't have made that top 10 or top 20, but it did because PC was VR. It's been dry, and there's some real games to get excited here. And if you're a PSVR 1 guy or a Quest guy, and this is you jumping into next gen VR, like, I hope you're as excited as I am. And this is coming from someone with multiple headsets and a PC, like both Ryan and I, and we're loving it. So I guess technically we're the master race and we're loving it.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's past Ryan's bedtime.
It is. I'm stressing over here. I got to fix this mess I've created for myself.
I know, I'm the same way. If something's not working now, it's going to drive me crazy.
But yeah, guys, thank you so much once again to our patrons, to all you guys in chat, to the super chats, and for you keeping the conversation going. We aren't a PSVR channel, but right now we are. So we're glad you're all here. And stay tuned, guys. We're going to be pumping out content as fast as we can. I'm on vacation for a couple days here, so I'll be ducking out, but Chris will be taking over. And then next week, we'll hopefully get a groove going and get coverage out there for as fast as possible for everything.
Should be nonstop content. I mean, my plans, guys, is focusing on probably Resident Evil 8, GT7, Pavlov, and my wife is actually going to be a guest reviewer and handle Cities VR, with probably some comments on Ryan with his Quest experience on that. But that's going to be coming from me with maybe a few surprises in there as well. And I think Ryan's just going to be, it'll be a next week thing for him. So hopefully we see a full review for Horizon from Ryan. So,
all right, I get it. My camera's dead. We got to end this thing, Chris. Everyone, thank you so much. I'm waving, but you can't see me, so what's the point?
I'm waving.
We got to kill this thing. This is embarrassing.
Anyways, well, guys, you know what? I don't know what to tell you. The PSVR 2 has been an upgrade, but we're not there yet. Thanks for tuning in, guys. Don't forget to hit that like button. Still watching us. Always just like so many people watching, and just hit that like button. Just algorithm us. But I really appreciate it. And feel free, guys, to swing back around once this video is live on the channel and leave us some comments. I want to hear about your day one, week one experiences. I really want to hear about those and talk about it. If you guys are having problems with it, also fire off in there too, and hopefully we can help you out a little bit more than some of the randos on Facebook or Reddit or whatever. So we'll be here as a support team for you guys. Appreciate all the support, guys, again. And we will catch you next week. Same bat time, same bat channel. Say goodbye, Ryan.
Goodbye, Ryan. Later, all. I'm not ready. Okay, bye, all. God, what a mess. My camera just died on me and everything.
I was in and out. Yeah, it was just